Okay, so yes, welcome. My name is Benedikt Rauscher. I'm with Pepperl & Fuchs, and where I'm responsible for global IoT and Industry 4.0 projects. But now I'd like to introduce the Intralogistics work groups in the OI4. And what does it work? Yeah. And to make sure that I really tell the truth, I first want to let our management talk.
This has always been the promise of Industry 4.0. Complete seamless availability of all data in 3 dimensions along the value generation, the business model, and the life cycle.
I believe that in the current situation, if you see the current crisis, that it shows once again the vulnerability of this integrated production and supply chain. Huge impacts, and this will be a big leverage and chance to push digitization in the industry, not only in Germany, but worldwide. So digitization, automation, and we see a big potential role here for the Open Industry 4.0 Alliance, as we can establish here an ecosystem of partners that are able and willing to push this digitization within the industry. And Fujitsu is, of course, willing and eager to play a role there.
And everyone has to look at their performance, and so they are looking more into their Industry 4.0, like AGVs, IoT, etc. And these are very essential for fast and uncomplicated distribution to the customer. Speed is really the key to success, and the Industry 4.0 can play a major role in that.
Many people believe the current COVID-19 crisis is a wake-up call, a real wake-up call for the global supply chain, because many companies are experiencing how important it is that you have much more transparency over tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, that you know to alternatively source your goods from maybe different countries. So the supply chain needs to be much more robust. Many call it resilient supply chain is what we need and what we have learned now in the last couple of months. Only with digitalization we can get and combine all this information within the warehouses, along the whole supply chain, inside companies, outside companies, top floor, shop floor, different vehicles, different robots, different sensors. And only with all this information we can build this resilient supply chain which we need.
If there's something good about the crisis, it's that it sharpens the senses on the things that are really important. And what is really important is right now to be very agile, to respond very quick to either a changing demand situation or a changing supply situation. And here Industry 4.0 is coming into place. It's all about the automation of business processes that starts in planning, where you match supply with demand, but also automation then into the execution, into the shop floor, into the production, into logistics and the supply management.
Yeah. So as you have heard, the main goal of our work group is to push forward the digitization of warehouses and the complete supply chain, because we all are convinced that Industry 4.0 needs an Intralogistics 4.0. And the Corona crisis shows how important a reliable and resilient supply chain is for nearly all businesses. The companies active in the Intralogistics work group in the OI4 cover the complete range from components for warehouses and even other intralogistics assets over systems, machines, and solutions up to the IT level, with warehouse management solutions and system integration services and add-on software. Components like motors and motion control units up to 4,000 watt from Dunkermotoren, tailor-made sensors from Captron, positioning systems and communication infrastructure, as well as digitalized Kanban solutions from Pepperl & Fuchs, and edge platform components from Fujitsu. automated conveyors, lifts, AGVs, and shuttle system from Gebhardt, and robotic-driven solutions from KUKA completely the OT side of intralogistics. And on the IT side, we see Fujitsu's advanced analytics service and SAP with the extended warehouse management, cloud robotics, and the material flow system MFS. Salt Solution tailors these solutions to the needs of the owner operators. So here again, our management on how these offerings help the customers to benefit from Industry 4.0 in their warehouses.
Pepper and Fuchs are among the world-leading companies in industrial sensors. Our digital sensors and our communication system architectures support the digitalization of the shop floor. And in addition, our Neoception software offers the data connection from the shop floor to the new digital business model of our customers.
We bring, as Fujitsu, of course, quite some capabilities in integration of solution and implementing projects, like SAP, for instance. But we also have our own IP. We're one of the world leaders in artificial intelligence. We do believe that in this alliance we have the potential to combine the strengths of the players here with products and services that we don't offer.
Captron as a sensor manufacturer and supplier for pick-by-light solutions, we already got many experience in the fulfillment center where our pick-by-light solution is being used. And we had the chance to see how important it is to increase the efficiency through the easy operation, to the speed, to how easy it is to integrate the system itself, and last but not least, the durability of their system itself.
We as Salt Solutions focus on the supply chain, on digitalization of the supply chain for logistics and production. The more we learn in this group, the more we can think about harmonization and standardization, the better we can advise our customers, the better we can advise them how to build flexibly and future-proof concepts of Industry 4.0 scenarios.
So we are certainly the world market leader in application software applications, and we are also very, very strong in logistics. To bring this knowledge, business know-how we have, the business process know-how into this alliance of intralogistics in order to improve the interoperability between the different solutions. So in order to bring a horizontal integration of the applications that are needed to automate a plant, to automate a warehouse on one side, but also the vertical integration of the application with the hardware layer. And here standards are coming into play, and that's also another goal we have with this alliance, to stick to standards like we are following the reference architecture model, Industry 4.0. We are also implementing the Industry 4.0 asset administration shell and other standards.
Yeah, we started our work group in March this year, right with the beginning of the Corona crisis. So unfortunately, we only were able to hold virtual meetings, what trained our digital skills, but honestly, we really miss personal contacts, and up to now, we weren't able to have a personal meeting, but let's see what the future brings. Luckily, we received support from our work, for our work from our executives. You already heard extracts from interviews with the upper management. And the first activities in the work group were to identify use case categories and the relevant standards for the intralogistic, and always have a close look at the other work groups, especially the process automation and the discrete manufacturing, because a lot what is dealt there is also relevant for other areas than as the intralogistics. Yeah, the next steps are going to be to have a look at, for example, OMLOGS, which is a very new open location standard. The open location standard, which provides a common API for technologies like ultra-wideband, GPS, RFID, and Bluetooth, and those technologies who provide a location signal, and Omlogs put this all together into one API, so that it is a generic way to access this. The Omlogs is hosted at the Profibus International, which is an important non-profit organization. It's also hosting Profinet, IO-Link, and other technologies like this. And 3 members of OI4 are also involved in Omlogs. So it is a great relevance for Industry 4.0 for moving objects in warehouses. Another activity we're going to have a look on is the TSAT Pulse. It's a government institute, a neutral body, which is very interesting, and it's a very interesting location for evaluation, experimenting, and showcasing training for us. So we'll get putting up a contact over there. And last but not least, we're having a look at cloud robotics, which is a joint initiative of SAP, Gephardt, and the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, the KIT. It's an open source code which can be adapted easily. And some OI4 member like Gephardt and SAP are already evaluating it in pilot projects, which can be very useful for use cases and customers who are using heterogeneous fleets like different kinds of robot, because it's a solution which is completely robotics brand agnostic. So that's what I want to tell about the Intralogistics group. And I'm open for questions at any time, now or later, or Ekrem, what do you think?
Very good. So thank you, first of all, Benedikt, for the very good information. And you mentioned it, you are the youngest, let's say, work group, and I'm sure not the last one. I would say that we take now the time for some questions. I think it's the best, and I would like to inform my colleagues who have been speaking before. I will just pick some questions from the audience and also point who should answer, and then it's good if you can jump in. So I like always questions which go into the direction of customers. So there is one question, Christian, I would like you to answer. I will start to explain. How can working groups help with specific customer projects where new requirements were not solved yet? I think that's a very good question. And Christian from KUKA, you are the best one to answer that.
I assume you really picked the hardest question for me.
Yeah, that's why I take you.
we cannot solve problems that we don't know about. I mean, if they are totally new requirements, you cannot expect us to have a perfect solution for that. But as our members of the work groups are working together on pilot cases, and we've done a couple of them so far, and we are planning to do many more of them. We gain experiences in actually working together, and thereby we also establish this interoperability of our solutions that we actually try to propagate with our architecture. Now, if we have those two elements, life will be much easier if we are facing totally new challenges. And I would say if we have some very specific projects, you will always find elements that are totally new. And you will also have a common basis with known problems, onboarding, for example, connectivity, whatever. And well, we have a good basis to start with. And that definitely helps us along. And on the other hand, I mean, I can only invite you to bring up those cases. Contact us, and we can take a look at your problem, and maybe we find an easy solution, or maybe it's a bigger one. But you have to get in touch with us to actually tell us about your problems, about your challenges, and so we can try to help you solve it. And of course, those kind of things are discussed in our work groups with the problems that all the members of our work groups have.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So let's take one for Simon. Simon, food and beverage. And I like that question because I would have the same question. So let's see, Simon. Yeah, you're back, so I can place the question. Simon. Where is Simon?
I'm here.
Ah, perfect. So now there is a question which I also had listened to your presentation. Why are you focused on mid-sized customers?
So from our experience, mid-sized customers, they are not that solid in their IT infrastructure. So if you jump into a customer which is quite big, we will get into deep discussions with the IT department. And the next thing is they are also already prepared in regards to OEE and analytics with their ERP system and so on. The other thing is in the mid-sized customers, especially for the Scandinavian countries, I took care of them, so I know that the decision makers are at the table. So to convince them is sometimes easier, and you have most of the time a better possibility there in mid-sized customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to get one more for your which fits to your group?
Yeah.
I would say, why not? What are the advantages for your customers and manufacturers?
So, as I already mentioned in my presentation, we have not only one machine manufacturer in the line. So Multivac is focusing over the last years to develop to be a line provider. So, but we cannot provide everything, and we have so many manufacturers, and it is not valuable for the customer if we only provide smart service for our machines, if we cannot provide it for a third-party supplier. Because there is no value for him if he cannot monitor his line. So this is for us, for the customer, a big advantage. And we also have a big advantage for the manufacturer, because sometimes we have smaller manufacturers of machines that do not have smart services or are not well equipped in regards to digital products, or do not have their own web shop, for example. And there we can also have the possibility to include them into our system.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I would like to take one more from the audience, Smita, that fits perfectly to the members' management and the way we work. So the question, I tried to shorten it. So the question is, how do the work groups create blueprints, and how do they address specific solution areas? Example was predictive maintenance. And then how do we put all the components that can interoperate effectively and address to the problem area? And the main question is also, is this the target of the work groups?
Yes, to a certain extent, this is the target of the work group. For example, in case of predictive maintenance, we see what are the elements needed for, for making it possible. Where do we need interoperability so that we can have the predictive maintenance in an end-to-end business scenario implemented? This will be explained tomorrow as a part of the tech committee sessions on how we exactly work in developing such blueprints. Actually, with blueprint, we don't call it a blueprint, we call it guidelines, best practices, because they have, they refer to the existing standards that are already in the market, say, for example, data models, or say, for example, containerized or any technology-based de facto standards that we might need, which are popular, right? So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I would also want to give a question to you, Benedikt, to the Intralogistics work group. So what are the use cases you are addressing in the work group for Intralogistics? That was a question.
Yeah, the first one is data harmonization in a multi-vendor scenario, because data is available in different forms and different formats and not compatible to each other. So that's one of the first things we want to elaborate. And then we will handle some use cases from the process house on asset and application level, because they are quite the same for, or also valuable for the intralogistics intralogistics group.
Perfect. So now I'm looking a little bit to the clock. I also see Simone already in there. That's perfect. I don't want to miss the chance for the audience for the next item, which is the showcase. Colleagues, you are with us later on for the remaining question and answers, I guess. So then let's do that for the time being and swap, so that we have still a lot of people hearing what we are going to present.